Welcome back, I'm Captain Xavier, and this is the second video in a series on the DartZone Mark III. In the first video, I installed all of the upgrade parts that I was sent by Out of Darts, but that was an early set of parts. I got that those parts before I even got a DartZone Mark III. And there were a few things that were lacking, and I discovered that I was having some reliability issues, especially with the feed on the pusher. It was not pushing as reliably as I would prefer, and that's really an important quality to me. I like my blasters to be reliable and consistent. They don't necessarily need to be the most powerful, but I need to know that when I pull the trigger, it is going to do the same thing every time, so that I can plan around that. So I'm really hoping that this pusher, which was designed by haphazardly named, is available on Thingiverse. Link is down in the description. It is also being sold by Out of Darts. They deemed that this was good enough to be sold by them. We also have here a tiny little part that supports the rev trigger switch, because apparently it likes to wander a little bit. And finally, I have an extended lever here that was designed by Coastal Cruiser. Coastal Cruiser designed this little lever, and that's going to be really nice because being left-handed, that switch is a little awkward to get to, and so I'm hoping having a slightly bigger one will make it a little bit easier for me to flip with my index finger rather than needing to reach around with my thumb, which is, it's awkward. They didn't make the Selector Lever ambidextrous and boo I say. But let's get this thing back open and try out these new parts and see if it helps. Okay, so installing the replacement switch wasn't too bad. I did have to drill a hole for the screw. It didn't appear to have one, but that was very simple. It drilled nicely, and now I have a much nicer, larger selector switch. Doesn't get in the way of my hand when I'm holding the blaster. That's nice. And I can much more easily use my index finger to switch, which is nice. So that's pretty cool. Very well done on the design there. I do like that. Okay, let's take a look at the next two pieces. We'll start with the little bitty one, which, as far as I can tell, simply slots on. Yep. So right behind the switch for the rev, there is a post, and that simply pops on there and gives a little bit more support behind this and keeps it from wandering off, which apparently it is want to do. There is a screw post that goes over the top of it, so you don't need to secure it. It will get held in place by the shell, which is fabulous. All right, let's take a look at the pusher. We're simply going to remove this screw, which should allow us to then lift up and remove the original pusher. And the issue, I believe, is that this just isn't quite. You pretty much only have that little section right there that has to pick up the back of the dart and push it in. And if the darts aren't perfectly fresh or whatever, it's skipping over the top of them and it's having issues. So this one, I'm assuming, yeah, has a lot more material that's hanging down to pick up the dart and should be more reliable. There we go. Looks like it should work. So, I'm going to test it real quick with a 2S LiPo here. We're going to lift up our triggers so the gear arm doesn't catch. And then we can rev. Cool. Looks to work. So I am going to button it back up and test and see if it is any more reliable. Well, I got the parts in and I got it working smooth. I did have to file one of the grooves because my 3D printing was a little not perfect. But we're going to take it to the chronograph and do 5 rounds on semi-auto and get some FIPs, and then we're going to go full auto and check them dips. Because apparently that's what we call darts per second now. Dips, FIPs and dips. I like it. Let's go. Right, a bit of tinkering later, and I think I've got it sorted. We'll try 5 rounds on semi-auto to get them FIPs, and then we'll do the mag dump. Very good, very good. Oh yeah. That's what I want. That's the reliability I'm after. Let's talk about it. Right, so the issue that I was having for a while was that the return spring on the pusher, on the linkage there, was not strong enough to overcome the friction being put on the pusher arm by the darts in the magazine, and so this would get stuck forward and wouldn't be able to return in time. It'd get partially back, and then the gear is moving so fast on full auto that it would immediately pick it back up and it would just kind of shove like this, which wasn't doing any good. So what I ended up doing was shortening the return spring a little bit to make it a little bit more powerful, and then I drilled a hole right here at this upper bend, and I connected there because when it was down here, the friction had leverage, and from up here, the spring had the leverage, and now I'm having no problem with it. So, absolutely loving that. That solved all of the problems that I was having with the original kit. That pusher is available from out of darts, or was. I think they might be out of stock right now. They also have an upgraded version of this arm, because some people have had problems with this part breaking, and I suspect they probably it also resolves the issue that I was having with it not having enough torque or not having enough leverage or what have you. So that part wasn't available for 3D printing, so I don't have one. I may reach out to Out of Darts, or I'll just order one. What am I talking about? But for now, it is working. It is reliable. I like the bigger lever. That definitely helps a lot. It sticks up just enough that it's much easier for me to reach it with either of my fingers, so I like that. And then that little piece that secures the rev switch, obviously just another nice thing. So there is video 2 on this. A few more upgrades. Links to everything will be down in the description, of course, as always. Stay tuned for the next video on this blaster, and thank you guys for watching.